um, to talk and to discuss about two important topics for us, which are digital social inclusion, media education, and so to really see how the technologies can help people of different ages, but in this case it would be more youngest, to do something in their life and for their city. So I would like just to let the floor to Alessandro, who is here with me. Alessandro Cozzutto, the project manager of Once Upon a Time in Anderlecht, and he will explain you a bit more what is this project about. I think also launching immediately the video, but I will let him decide in this case.
Yeah, thank you, Federica. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. It's really a pleasure and an honor. I'm here, to present this small social initiative which took place in the suburbs of Brussels. And as Federica anticipated, it's about social inclusion via media education, but it's really the attempt to go on the field and to try to give a concrete application of these which are very pivotal to the development of Europe in general. As Federica said, the best thing is to show the video, because in a few minutes it manages, I hope, to give you a full overview of what the project was, what the objectives were, and possibly what the next steps will be. And my wish would be to show you this video and then to start the discussion from that, listening to your questions if you have questions, or just to go more in the details of this project. Thank you very much for joining this webinar.
So now I've just sent you the link in the chat of the webinar, or if you go in your you will have a link for the video. So we'll take the video is 10 minutes. If you do it now, we just watching the video. You can also tell me if you have already seen the video. Maybe everybody has already seen it, so it wouldn't be necessary to spend 10 minutes waiting for the others if no one is listening. So I hope you can all access the page. I will send again in the chat the link if you want to have the video. And you don't hesitate to use the chat if you have any questions, if you want to tell us something is not working well. Okay, I can see, so 2 people have already seen the video. Thank you for letting us know. A computer as well on the screen you are seeing, but you will not have the sound, because if we do so, we will have an echo, and that's not going to be enjoyable for anyone. So we'll play the video on the webinar, but without the sound. And I think we can put the subtitles in French or in Dutch if it helps someone.
Yeah, then you have to open another
This
link.
one?
No, the one that I sent you yesterday. Or I can type it for you.
Yeah, maybe because otherwise I need to open the...
We are about to play has no sound, but as you can see, has French and Dutch subtitles. I recommend you to open the same link on your own computer to have the audio, but in case you cannot for any reason, you can just enjoy the images with subtitles. Okay, so I hope you managed to watch the video and hopefully enjoy the video. And now I would like to tell you a bit more now that you have a kind of visual reference to the work. So, as I said, it's a project of social inclusion via media education, which means that we always try to keep on the same level these two different aspects, which at the same time are highly connected. Let's start from the motivations behind the project. Well, basically, as you know, the suburbs of Brussels, like the suburbs of any European cities, sometimes they experience this kind of disconnection between average citizens, in particular low-income citizens, and institutions. So basically the idea about teaching people to use their smartphone to make videos was to give them a tool so that they could communicate to the rest of society and also to institutions to give a feedback about how they live their city and about what they would like from public institutions, what kind of actions they would expect from public institutions. Then, of course, there's this side of digital education, which is also very important, but the point was that we didn't want to push too much this technical aspect. We just wanted to show the possibility to use current technologies in a different way compared to the way in which they are usually adopted, which is for entertainment. We said, okay, yeah, you can use it for entertainment, but you can also use it. You can also use it to have broader and more meaningful exchange with other people, whether it is with the videos, whether it is with other kinds of communication techniques like photos, like social media. The important is to push people to make the effort to get into a conversation with people around them. This is the first step of a broader initiative which ideally is going to be scaled up to the whole European context, and this is the reason why we found that this webinar might be interesting, because the methodology behind this initiative is an open source methodology, which means that all the resources, all the products that are developed within this initiative are then available to other people, to other realities, in order to adapt them to their own context and possibly to contribute to make it bigger, but also to make it not the product of a single person's initiative, but a collective initiative. I wonder if anyone has questions or remarks, so that instead of talking for hours with the risk of getting you bored, we can have a proper conversation. Let's see. Any feedback from the chat? Don't be shy. I mean, it's really about understanding together what we can do to concretely work on a topic which is, of course, a common concern, but sometimes it's not always so easy to understand how to implement it in the anyway. What kind of editing tool did you use? We have a question from Peter Elisa. That's exactly the proper question for what concerns the digital side of the initiative. When I started the project, my idea was to teach video making to kids. But the problem with traditional video making is that you need a laptop. Then one day I found out the existence of many applications on mobile, both on Android and or Apple systems, which allows you to perform a full editing of your videos. The application which I like the most is called Viva Video, and it's available for both platforms, but there are many others. I mean, you just make a very quick research on your App Store, on your Android store, and you will find tons of application to perform the editing. I just mentioned you a few examples. There's Adobe Clip, which is the application which is the software company that is behind Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects, and all this kind of software. This is the version that they made for mobile. Then there's another application which is pretty popular. It's called KineMaster. Another one is called Power Director. So as you see, there are many, and I think that this kind of application which will be more and more developed in the upcoming years. And this is the reason why after 20 years making videos on my laptop, I decided to put my laptop aside and to fully focus on smartphone video making. I hope it answers the question, but feel free to, yeah, thanks, great, you're welcome. No, besides, there's a very important thing to say. Within this project, in order to help children participate, I made a manual. So if you go to the website of the small company which I created, starting from this initiative, which is Smart Videos. So you go to smartvideos.eu. You will find the link. Now we're trying to show it straight on the screen. Smart Videos with S. It's the side business which I started developing after what I've been learning thanks to Once Upon a Time in Anderlecht. And as you can see from the header, we don't only use smartphones to film and edit professional videos in less than 24 hours, but we teach you to do the same. What does that mean? If you scroll down the page and you enter the website by clicking the red button, we'll open the portfolio page. At the bottom of the portfolio page, you will find on the right column a link to download what I call the manual of the little smartphone video maker. What is it? It's a 40-page document. You have to subscribe to the website to receive it for free on your mailbox. And it's a 40-page manual which tries to highlight the very basic notions behind video making in general and behind smartphone video making in particular. Why did I do a manual, and why do I send this manual to people for free? Because my idea is that as many people learn make videos with their smartphone, as many people will be sensitive to the importance of learning to communicate properly with other people. I mean, everybody can make a video with their smartphone, but my goal is to help them develop the correct technique in order to produce quality videos, because I'm sure you're aware on the web, in particular on social media, you can find millions, maybe billions of videos made with a smartphone, but sometimes they're very shaky, sometimes the audio is not proper, sometimes they're just too long or too boring. So the idea behind this manual is to kick off, to give you a good excuse to start trying yourself. And when you try yourself, possibly you will join this small community which I'm trying to create, which is a community of people which find a smartphone, which use a smartphone in order to try connect with other people. Please, Federica.
Yes, no, because I have a question. I'm more interested in looking at what were the reaction actually about the reaction of the people on these young people that you involved. I mean, when you tried really to make this experiment, because I think at the beginning was a kind of an experiment.
Yeah.
What did you experience? How did they react? Were they happy? The positive?
Yeah, thank you. It's a very interesting question, because, you know, when you have a passion, like in my case, video making, you really want to share it with as many people as possible. And people generally, when you do something with passion, they react positively, but they do not necessarily react as you expect them to react. So in this case, I realized that kids or the young people that participate in the project not necessarily want to become professional video makers, you know, but still the fact that we had some moment together to discuss about these issues, to try to do something creative, no matter if in the end the result from their side was far from what I had in mind, because that's what the most important thing was, to see how they took this tool, to see how they received this input from me, and to observe the way in which they adapted to their own story, to their own context. And I can tell you, there were a couple of girls in particular, no surprise, make a couple of videos which were astonishing, were surprising. It was very different approach to video making. It was more based upon pictures, but still it was precisely a different way to use this same tool. And I think that this is the way towards which we're going. We're going towards the creation of a community in which anyone contributes how they like. How it's more appropriate to their own story, to their own ambitions, to their own dreams. And I think that's the main difference compared to traditional educational systems. It's not the imposition of a structure, it's not the imposition of a path. Of course, you have to show a way, because you cannot just give something and say, okay, now you do whatever you want. No, you have to show a few paths that they can show, that they can follow. But at the same time, it's really nice to let them free to use it their own way, and to create something which does not exist yet, but maybe will exist in 5 years from now.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I'm really keen on listening to feedback from people across Europe, even if they're just commentaries, even if they're negative commentaries. Absolutely. I mean, we're here to discuss and possibly to find a common way. So, who is the brave guy and girl who is gonna launch a question?
We see someone is typing.
Someone is typing. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Maybe in the meantime
scared.
you can.
Please be nice.
In the meantime, you can talk a bit the event that you are
Yes.
organizing at the European Parliament with 2 MEPs.
Sure, with great pleasure. So basically this is a local project, but as we are in Brussels, which is at the same time the cradle of European terrorism, apparently, and the capital of Europe, the point was really, okay, how can we bring different communities that live and try to coexist in this city together? And this is why I asked a member of the European Parliament to support the initiative, because what was important for me was to connect this different environment. And so next week we're gonna take kids that participated in the project to the European Parliament, because they've never been there, even if they live a few kilometers away. And although apparently technically it wouldn't be that difficult, in the reality it's pretty difficult to mix this kind of these different words together. So we hope really to celebrate this meeting of different people, different communities, and to see what is going to happen. Really, I can't wait to see that. This is the starting point. This is what I call the step 0, but we're already working on the step 1. The step 1 is to start from this local initiative and trying to go a little bit farther. We will start next year working not anymore on a single area of Brussels. We will try to work on the whole Brussels. And the goal in the long run, hopefully with your help, is to export, to scale these techniques elsewhere in Europe.
And by the way, referring to this, there is a question from Peter and Lisa.
Yes, Peter and Lisa,
from Amsterdam, and asking, they are working with children from 8 to 10 years old.
Yes.
And they are wondering if that manual would work with them.
Look, the manual itself work with you. I mean, you take the manual, you try to grasp the essential notions in it, and you try to share them with the kids. In the manual, you will find the 10 essential rules of smartphone video making. If you manage to teach even only 3 or 4 rules to the kids, it will already be a big result, because, you know, kids don't like rules. I mean, let's be honest, who likes rules? But it's up to you really to start from scratch and to try to communicate this basic information, and then to see the reaction of the kids. Maybe you will realize that the 10 rules that I wrote are not the good rules. Maybe you will maybe you will eliminate a few rules. The goal of the manual is really to push you, to give you an incentive to try yourself, and possibly to help me make the manual better. So it's really an open source tool. The goal is to together day by day to make things better, and to incorporate the children's feedback, the children's reaction, so that it's not the empty to teach kids something, but it's actually a living thing, something that improves day by day thanks to daily experience.
Thanks for all this food for thought, I think. You were saying that you would like to scale up this initiative.
Yes.
What are your plans exactly?
Well, we are currently working, as I said, on step 1 of the initiative after step 0. So the step 0 is this project, Once Upon a Time in Anderlecht. The name of step 1 is even more ambitious, because it's called the School of the Future. So what's the School of the Future? It's the attempt to scale this project on a different level. We want to develop other workshops, not only smartphone video making, but also 3D printing. We want to develop any form of education connected to new technologies. But we don't want to create a big structure. We really want to start to go step by step. We will work on the Brussels area next year, and we will try to connect with people like you, who is active in other cities, share the resources that little by little we will be accumulating thanks to this project, and try to create a network of people in different cities of Europe which share resources and then apply them in a different way, according to their specific social, economic, cultural context. Because I personally do not believe that the education of the future can be kind of a 10-year plan from the European Commission. No. That can be the general structure, but then concrete projects at a local level must help European institutions to understand what the right direction of digital education in the future is. So it's really up to you guys. I mean, it's really up to us. It's really up to our local initiatives to create the correct environment so that general initiatives at European level can actually manage to perform their overall objectives. I'm really curious to hear from you about your own experience, about what you tried, what failed, what was successful, because this is really the way, in my opinion, to build up something together.
So in this case, you can either unmute yourself and talk, or if you want to think a bit about it, you can also send an email later to Alessandro. We'll be in touch with him. We'll share his contacts. But I had another question. You are talking about what is done at the European level and then more at the local level.
Yes.
And how do you think that, for instance, city authorities, local authorities can help or somehow foster the development of the project in the communities?
Well, I can say that in Belgium, and particularly in Brussels, there's a lot of attention towards these topics. We have here in Belgium a minister who is in charge of the digital agenda, Alessandro Cozzutto, and he is very active and try to promote any kind of initiative that manage to combine social inclusion and media education. There are many examples of concrete initiatives that have been taken here in Brussels. For instance, in Molenbeek, which is an area of Brussels you may have heard about, last year there was a strong support to this initiative called Molenbeek. And basically it's a center in which kids can go and learn coding. On one side, of course, financial support is very necessary because it allows people to take ambitious initiatives. But at the same time, financial support alone is not enough because people have to take their own initiative in order to ensure that this support goes the right direction. I guess that it's not easy in Europe to have a consistent framework because the local contexts are so different, and also the national politics, the national policies in terms of digital are very different from country to another country. Everyone, I guess, agrees that the challenge is very tough and that nothing will happen from one day to the other one. It's a step-by-step process, and as many initiatives pop up at a European level, the easier will be to find a common way to give a consistent educational framework to sustain social inclusion and to help the kids of today to be the main characters of the digital economy of the future. Come on, Peter, Lisa, another question. Come on, you're not the shy ones. Besides, you're in Amsterdam, so it's really easy to come visit you. It's really easy for you to come visit us. But also other people are really warmly invited to join the conversation and to add the commentary.
And Peter and Lisa are saying, yes, come over here.
Yes, yes. This weekend, I'm free.
No, I think besides jokes, I think this is really interesting to see how this could scale up or replicate it. In other cities. I think this is also the goal, to really bring it all over Europe and to see how it can be adapted to the different realities.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure, other cities are already engaged in this, let's say, exercises,
yes,
in these projects in a different way. It could be also interesting maybe to share the different experiences. And if you think this is something interesting for your city. As we said, there are different opportunities to communicate with Alessandro. Now you have also seen the website and the different pages. We will send you all the different links. As we said, this webinar was recorded, so we will share with you also the recording, and so don't be afraid to also share it with your colleagues in your city or in other cities. If you don't have any other questions, I think we can close here the webinar. Thank you very much for your participation, and we keep in touch and talk to you very soon. Yeah?
Thank you very much. Yes, it was a pleasure to meet you, even only virtually for now. But I hope there will be the opportunity to connect anywhere. Find me on LinkedIn, you find me pretty much everywhere. But important is really to discuss, to engage into a conversation, to understand what we can do better. This is the challenge. Some people tells me, why do you teach people about smartphone video making for free? And I said, this is not a monopoly. I mean, knowledge in the economy of knowledge works by sharing, because by sharing you create the opportunities to have then material benefits. So I really invite you to join this conversation, to take, to give, to share, and to really find a way to cope with the challenges of tomorrow. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you, Alessandro. Bye, everybody.